Hello? Hey, hey, pick up the phone. It's the Ratcast.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to show number 2 of the Ratcast here in 2024-25. I'm Dave Gardner, joined again by Anthony Flynn over here on my, what would be my right over here? It's kind of like a Brady Bunch. That was never easy. If you've done this, it's never easy to find the person. It's really not. It takes a couple of times to get used to where everybody is. But anyway, a lot of goodies to talk about here today, Flinner, in episode 2. We got some divisional talk. We got some expansion news. We got some new teams. We got some great guests coming up here on the show. We have a news segment, the PIHA Rewind, which we're going to get to later on. And also, Flynn, I think we have our first trade in league history. I think there's a rumor going along. All that, and we're going to have to talk about the games coming up this weekend as the season will finally kick off this weekend. So all kinds of things to talk about. Before we get to that, you must be busy. What's going on with you?
Oh, always busy here. And now I'm adding in the prep for these shows. It makes it that much easier, but I'm just kind of replacing the prep for the season because we're ready to roll over here on the East Coast. So just replacing a little bit of busy work with some different busy work, but all out of a passion, for the sport. So I'm glad to be doing it.
Yeah, it is. A switch goes off over here for me, on Labor Day weekend. When that hits, it's all of a sudden you hit the ground running. I start my junior hockey schedule on Friday, and that's pretty much nonstop through March between the festivals and the 3 teams that I do up here in New Hampshire. It's going to be a busy time. It's a fun time, but it's a busy time. And I think last February, if I'm not mistaken, I had 1 day off in February of this year. Just, they needed play-by-play guys. They needed broadcasters, and just, the call went out, the bat symbol went out, and I answered, and it was just a busy time. It was fun, but boy, going to a rink every single day, 27 out of 28 days was kind of tough. It really was.
Well, why don't we tell everybody some of the other stuff that you're doing when it comes to hockey? You do a lot of broadcasts for...
I do for the USPHL. I do the Northern Cyclones up in Hudson, New Hampshire. I do all 3 levels. I do the NCDC, the Premier, and the Elite divisions. I also do some work for the Boston Junior Bruins out of Marlborough. In fact, next weekend, that's where their festival or their showcase, I think it's called. They have the Junior Bruins Showcase. We get teams from all over coming in. It's fun. We get teams coming down from Montreal and Ottawa that I do, and that's really kind of fun seeing those teams come in. So it's a lot of junior hockey. Every now and then, I remember Ruppy Haley?
Sure.
Me and Ruppy
Indeed.
Haley. Indeed. Ruppy Haley and I will still get together. He's now working with Rivier College in Nashua, New Hampshire, and every now and then we'll go up and we'll do a couple of games for the college, the men's and the women's division up there. And they're going
to must not be any bridges on the way to those games.
No, there's no bridges at all. I think it's only like 5 miles from his house, and I think he flies. So I'm still getting together with Ruppy every now and then. So between the college and the junior leagues, it's busy. This summer, I actually did Canadian ball hockey. I did it from the house, kind of like what we did in Colorado. And I did games from Edmonton and Saskatchewan. And I broadcasted the game right here from the house. It was kind of fun doing some Canadian ball hockey. It was nice filler work over the summer. I got to tell you, some of those kids run faster than I can skate. I was quite impressed.
I'm exhausted watching deck hockey. I really am.
Yeah, I watched women's division, men's divisions, and the boys divisions, and they would be behind the net and they would pass it up, and then they get a return pass and they're gone. It's like, how did you go from this net to this net? I'd still be in the zone, huffing and puffing, trying to get across that blue line. And there you are at the other end. So it was good hockey. It was fun to watch. And it was nice to see up there the Canadian Ball Hockey Championships up there. So been busy doing this all. And it all kind of started here with the roller hockey for me. Doing the Swamp Rats and the Swamp Donkeys down in Holbrook, Massachusetts, and then hooking up with you and taking the ride down to Skate Safe and down to Philly and all kinds of places. So it all kind of started here with the Roller Hockey League, and now here we are.
we're all glad you've come full circle and you're back here with us. So, everybody, I see you're wearing your PIHA Hall of Fame jersey today.
I am.
You were inducted a few years back. But glad to have a
20?
Hall of Fame. I think it was
20.
The number, 2020.
I got the 20. Yeah. Where is it over here? Oh, yeah. I can't see it. There we are. 20.
Gotcha. Yep. Well deserved, and glad to have a Hall of Famer on board with us for this 24-25 season. So,
thank you so much. All right, so what are we going to get into first? So much to start with here.
Well, I think we should pick up where we left off last week when we were talking about previewing the league. The big spot that we missed last year certainly was the Pro Division. We didn't discuss the Pro Division much last week because I thought, with the expansion there and some of the teams that are playing and traveling, it was really worth its own time and episode. So today, let's dive in and talk a little bit about the Pro Division.
Okay.
All right. So we, last week we pulled up our graphics here. We'll do it again here today. So our division alignment out here on the Atlantic side, the East Coast, for the Pro Division, we have 6 teams this year. Coming back this year, we have 3 teams: the Inferno, the Few, and the Suffolk Sting, the returning champion Suffolk Sting, having won 6 of the last 7 years, Dave.
Oh, so wow.
Definitely have a bullseye on their back, especially after finally getting back to the top of the mountain last year, beating the Demon Dogs in 4 straight games, and they were pretty decisive out in Colorado last year. But we've got 3 teams in addition out here on the East Coast this year. The Marple Gladiators back for the first time in 4 years at the Pro Division. I believe the majority of this team is their semi-pro team coming up. And we're happy to see some teams stepping up to the competition level here, and you'll see that a little bit with the second Sting team here that we're showing here. This is going to be the Mauritius Sting. This is a younger group of kids, along with a couple of veterans to help out that squad. Still waiting on their roster. Along with a couple others, but excited to see them. And then we have the Michigan Fury. This has been a project for almost seems like months now, and this will hint at our first guest coming up in a couple of minutes from Michigan. But and
this is the East, right? We're talking the East here.
This is the East side, yes. So in Michigan, and the big difference here is that these guys are out of a suburb of Detroit, and that is quite a haul. It's going to be a big commitment, and the majority of that commitment was made by the Fury in the travel, but also from the Sting. The Sting, in order to make this happen, agreed to take a trip to Detroit this year. That really that was the only way we were able to make this whole thing work. So their commitment to go to Detroit, meet up with the Fury and the Inferno, and the Inferno kind of sit in the middle there. So that was probably a relief for these guys that they don't have to keep going east on the PA Turnpike. Now they can kind of go the other direction a little bit, see some new teams, but also a new venue. Exciting, I'm sure, for them as well. So that's the way the East looks this year, and we'll circle back to the Fury in a little bit. But that's the way the East looks. And when we get to the West, this is our Rocky Mountain division. We have, as you'll see, 7 teams here. The Roller Dads, as you'll see here up in the top of the middle, that they are the 2022-23 champions, lost last year in the finals. They're back, along with the Colorado Thunder, who have been there since day one. The Stallions are back. Colorado Stallions are back this year. The Colorado Fire, who have been around for a number of years, are back again. With the Aurora Royals, they're back again in the Pro Division this year. And then at the very bottom here, you see this EZ. This is the Arizona Coyotes. They played, for a couple of years back, haven't done anything, but now the league seems to be expanding back down in that direction again this year. So we have, out of Phoenix, we have the Arizona Coyotes working with them. And then last but not least, we have a little chaos in this division because the Naples Chaos is going to play in the Western Conference this year. But Dave, they're out of Florida.
We touched on this last week a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, so they contacted us, and now obviously we talked about the new Southeast Division, and it's really sparked some energy down in that area of the roller hockey world. And they contacted us and say, is there any way we could play this year? They have some sponsors. They're looking to compete at the highest level, And that's the one thing we don't have down there in that region right now is we don't have any pro teams. And they said, hey, we're willing to take a couple trips and compete. So, I worked with CJ, and they're going to play a set with our Eastern teams, but then they're going to play the rest of their sets, and in their playoffs with the West Coast, because it just worked out better with their schedule. So they're going to be the 7th team for a total of 13 teams, which is a big jump for the pro division. And I know there's been some talk about, Southern California having some interest again. So we'll see where this takes us, but very excited about the compete level at the pro division this year. And it should make the Western Conference considerably more competitive, because last year they had 5 teams in the Rocky Mountain area, and now this year they only have 4. Really, with the Rolodad, the Thunder, the Fire, and the Stallions. I'm sorry, no, they do have 5. I forgot. There was a point where we weren't sure if the Fire were in, but they are in. So, very excited about all of that.
Okay. I'm looking on the website here in the West. Where are the Roller Dads?
They're called. I'm sorry. I called them the Roller Dads. They're the Roller Dad is their sponsor. They're called the Demon Dogs.
The Denver Demon Dogs. Okay.
The Denver Demon Dogs. I apologize about that.
No, and then we got the Parker Royals.
Parker Royals, right?
Okay.
Did I call them the Aurora? All this information came to me in the last 48 hours, so I'm a little all over the place by it. But yes, I apologize.
Okay. I was kind of putting names to faces in the whole bit here. So interesting. So, so 13 teams this year. I'm interested to see how the Chaos is going to do, because they're going to have an interesting schedule, because they're going to play some East and some West teams. So actually, it's kind of the best of both worlds for them, right?
Yeah, and last year the Demon Dogs reached out to us when we were at the finals and said, hey, we might be interested in taking a trip east this year. And then Arizona came into the mix, and they realized that they would be taking trips down there. So we and then when Michigan came in, we kind of said, hey, we've got all these teams, maybe, this is something for down the road. And then this team came in, and it'll be interesting, because now I think the teams will be able to use them as like a litmus test, right? Oh, how did we have no idea. Like, when you won't play teams the whole season, you don't know. Like, maybe you're dominating your division, but then you just don't know. Like, maybe you won't even beat the 4th place team in the other division. But when this team comes in, they'll certainly be able to be a litmus test for everybody. And they are kicking off on the East, November 2nd, 3rd, right here at Marple Sports Arena, where I'm sitting as we speak. So that will be very interesting to see. And there'll be some names that people will recognize on that roster, and they haven't released an official roster. I've heard rumors of what it's going to look like, but I'm not going to spill the beans yet.
Right. So when they travel, I take it they're going to be playing a bunch of games when they travel to kind of maximize their trip, right?
They are. When they come to Philly on the 2nd and 3rd, they're playing 4 games Saturday, 4 games Sunday. And then I believe when they're going to Colorado, they're going to Colorado twice during the regular season, and they'll play 6 games and 6 games. Out there to get their 20 games in. And then they'll have to make another trip again for the playoffs, assuming they make it. Make it. Yeah. Right. So, but it's the perfect transition as we're talking about the pro to bring in our first guest, Dave.
Okay.
And that all the way from Detroit, Michigan, want to bring in Mike Farinelli of the Michigan Fury. Let me bring in Mike here. Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
So, Dave, Mike reached out back, I want to say late spring, and said, "Hey, we're interested, in putting a team into PIHA." And the interesting part for us is PIHA is very strong here in the East Coast, but as you get to the Midwest, there's a different program that's called MIHA. And I was a little tentative, and I think, Mr. Yoder was as well, because, we were like, well, that's kind of like MIHA territory. And, we're always trying to play nice. We don't want to kind of, feel like we're poaching or whatever. But Mike approached and he basically said, hey, listen, MIHA's great, but there just seems like there's nothing sitting at the top. And they have a lot of guys out there, that I guess are hungry to want to play at that level. And they weren't getting what they needed in PIHA. So, and we talked about the needs for the travel. I mean, it's not chaos level travel, but it's still going to be pretty hefty. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's how we got to here. I mean, unless I'm missing anything, Mike.
No, I think you hit it on the head. We're definitely excited to be a part of it. And you're not wrong. I think we love MIHA. It's very popular around this region. But then there is a subset of players that are really looking to get back into serious and more competitive high level hockey. So when the discussion about, hey, what's the next logical step? What can we do? It's great that a lot of our players, especially our platinum players, will play on Tuesdays, and it's some of the best players in the country, but they want something a little more serious. So PIHA seems like a great fit for us.
So the league just posted your roster the other day. Tell us a little bit about the roster and who we should look out for on this team.
So I'm sure, like everybody else, it is a constantly evolving roster where even as you guys were talking right before you got me on, I finally got confirmation that Garrett Ross will be joining us. So that's a huge pickup for us that we are very excited about. But it's definitely a work in progress right now.
So now, did Garrett Ross give you that information all the way from Italy?
Oh, I know he's a little busy right now, along with a couple other people that I was hoping to talk to today. But no, actually, Chucky Robinson, who's really been, he's our starting goaltender for the Fury. He's been an integral part of putting this entire program and this entire thought process together for the PIHA, and we're excited to see where it goes. But we have a ton of players that have also played in the PIHA in the past, have done other pro leagues. We currently have a number of players who are on the Car Show Pro team that just won this year. So we're definitely excited to be a part of it. Our roster is something we're proud of. We're looking forward to finally getting on the floor and playing.
Fantastic. So when you talk to your players about signing up, getting into the PIHA, obviously travel's a big part of it. When you sit down, what do you talk about when it comes to the travel part of this?
I think the travel part is efficiency, and this is really what I want to do. I'm not necessarily the guy that wants to pick all the guys on the roster and then control who's doing what and who's going to. I want to be more of the administrative side. We have a lot of good talent on this rink. They don't need me to tell them what to do or how to play hockey. All right. We already have a head coach for that, and most of these players are already well trained and have plenty of experience at this level. So what I enjoy and what I'm good at is getting all the administrative stuff done, making sure that these players have an appropriate locker rooms that when they can play at our rink and a pro room, making sure that our rink here, when we host our event on October 12th and 13th, is absolutely ready to go for the highest level hockey that we can offer. That's really what I excel at and what I want to do. So when we talk about travel, I think really what it is yes, if you want to play in this better league hockey and the more competition and the more serious, guess what? It's not going to be a 3 to 4 hour drive every time. We're going to have to travel. But I think we're excited to try new buildings. For me, I've never been to Marple, believe it or not. So I'm excited to go out there. And obviously the end goal is Colorado. That's where we really want to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know we had some teams up here in Boston many, many years ago, and everybody wanted to play the home games and no one would take the road games. It's like, no, you got to do the whole package here. You got to come on the road with us. We can't send 4 guys on the road and just get slaughtered while you guys sit home and watch TV, So that was the thing, is if you're in, you're in, and so, yeah, that's the big thing. So good. If you got people willing to do that and they understand what's going to happen, then I think that makes for a better, a better unit.
I agree 100%. I think we've all dealt with the, hey, it's time to go somewhere. Oh, 4 guys just dropped. I mean, that's just unfortunately the nature of the game sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mike, one of the things that Dave really wanted to key on this year is just to your exact point, and you led into it perfectly, which is, a lot of people don't know all of these rinks. And now for most of us out here in the East Coast, we don't know much about the Big Boy Arena out there in Fraser, much like you said, hey, I've never been to Marple Sports Arena, or, hey, a lot of these teams who maybe have been playing in this league for a while, they still haven't been to Colorado, and they don't know what an amazing facility that they have there. And we know you have an amazing facility there in Fraser. So tell us a little bit about the Big Boy Arena.
So Big Boy Arena in Fraser, Michigan has previously been known as a number of different names, mostly known as Fraser Hockey Land. It's also not a secret that we came over here when Joe Dumars shut down, which was arguably one of the largest roller hockey programs in the country for a while. COVID hit, and when that shut down, we came over here and we surveyed what we could do. And really, for me, when they said, hey, we want you to head a program here, we want you to do the whole 9 yards and just make this the best that we can make it. What sold me was, first off, the availability of the building. This building is a giant building. It has 5 sheets in it. One of those sheets being a 5,000 seated with a bar inside feature rink that has the Federal Hockey League. Motor City Rockers are playing out of it. And we get that floor during the summer at minimum. So it gives us a lot of opportunities to really put on a good show and a good experience for the customers and the players that are here. And the other thing, too, that I would say that brought me over and what really put this program on the right track is that the people that I answer to, my owners, are on the same page as me, where it's about community and it's about experience. When we came in here, and I think one of the pictures I sent you was just somebody rolling around on what looked like a 30 by 40 set of gray sample flooring. We had 4 floors flown out to us, so we could pick which one we want. We didn't like where the benches were, so they ripped the entire benches out of the rink and moved them to the other side. We wanted the locker rooms redone. 2 years ago, we had the showers completely redone with brand new piping. Like, we are trying to make this the best facility that we can be.
So you said that there's 5 sheets in that building?
That's correct.
In that,
all
was
NHL
it,
size.
okay, and so how many are roller?
Right now, we have 1 year round. In the summer, we have 2.
Okay.
But hopefully, with some good news, we will have 2 year round starting January of next year.
And how strong is the roller hockey out there in that area? Can you fill those on a consistent basis with regular leagues in the whole bit?
For us, for adults only, let's call it 18 and up, we have more than 12 divisions. It includes age brackets and skill levels. We have on average 130 to 140 teams a season, 3 seasons a year. We never stop. We never take a break. Our normal schedule is usually 5 o'clock until midnight, Monday through Friday. Our Sunday leagues are so big that we have to use Saturday to accommodate all the teams. So we are healthy. We're doing strong. We only run youth in the summer just because of ice. It's actually been an interesting experience for me, thinking that, hey, we're going to go into a really big ice rink. So that means we're going to have a lot more exposure than a typical inline hockey program, which has both been a good thing and, quite honestly, a challenge as well. So again, I would say our program is very strong. We're doing healthy right now.
Oh, fantastic. I know up here in the Boston area, there's not a lot of roller hockey up here. I've been running a league for 25 years, but it's just a small league that we do. We did have a couple of professional teams in different leagues back in the day, 10, 12 years ago, but they've since faded out. So it's all ice hockey up here. So I know when I went down to Skate Safe to see Flynn, and now he's done it in another rink, roller hockey's strong down there. And in some cases, roller hockey's stronger than ice hockey. And which is kind of weird for me because up here it's ice all the time.
Well, I don't know that it's stronger, but it's certainly a lot healthier in certain pockets around the country for sure. So
I would agree with that 100%. I'll bring up.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I would agree with that 100%. I mean, for us, within an hour, there is 4 facilities that offer inline hockey. Most are pretty healthy. I mean, I think that's a good thing. If anything, the Taylor Sportsplex, which is an hour away from us, used to be summer only, and now they're year round. So to me, that shows growth. That shows that they're going in the right direction. The sport is growing in our area.
Oh, good.
And Dave, Mike did send me a quick video if you want to see of the rink.
I would love to see the video.
So what you're watching is the feature rink. This is the rink that we get in the summer, and this is Mars Blade versus the Detroit Border Cats Pro in one of our house tournaments that we run for the Summer Bash on Father's Day weekend.
Wow, very impressive, very nice.
So certainly one of the, and I don't want to give anything away, but certainly one of the things that the league has looked at has been this particular facility, and if maybe down the road, having some sort of one of our bigger events there down the road. So, but don't quote me on that. Don't write that down. We'd certainly like to, because obviously it's a fantastic place.
Yeah, it looks really nice, really nice. So you guys start up, you said October 12th and 13th?
That's correct.
All righty. So you got the schedule all set. You're ready for that. And you think the roster, when your roster's almost done, you said?
Yeah, give me another day and we'll be good.
Yeah, Dave, I'm going to make that trip. So certainly looking forward to getting to meet Mike's team and see the facility and be there to kick off the pro season. So looking forward to it.
We're
awesome.
excited.
Great news.
Well, Mike, thanks for jumping in. We got a couple of other guests still in the green room itching to get out here and some more stuff to talk about. So thank you so much for jumping in, and best of luck to you and to the Michigan Fury this season.
Thank you, gentlemen. Looking forward to seeing you guys.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, well, that's Mike Farinelli. Mike and I have had probably more conversations on the phone in the last 4 or 5 months than some of my better friends. Like, we've been on the phone quite a bit putting this together. So it's awesome to see it, right around the corner. Everything seems buttoned up, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, I think teams are ready to go. I think once you start playing the games, things tend to start smoothing out on their own. Sometimes it's just getting ready to play the games. And then once you start playing it, it kind of just runs itself, so to speak. At least that's the hope. That's the hope. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, and as we progress here on the show, I think the next logical place is last week we previewed the East Coast Northeast region, Southeast region, and all the semi-pro and minor divisions. But we didn't touch on the West Coast. We spoke a little bit with CJ as he made his Ratcast debut last week, but they were still putting the final pieces together, and that has happened since last week's episode, and they sent us everything over. So I think the best thing to do is to bring in the West Coast coordinator for the PIHA and a guy who does some part-time Ratcasting during the finals, Joe Oria.
Hey guys, what's going on?
What do you say, Joe?
Hey, I'm just here. I wish I could say this is what my house looks like, but it's not. I think that's what people think a PIHA owner's couch area, living room, whatever this is, looks like. But no, it mostly looks like, the brick wall that Flinner's in front of.
I was kind of hoping you could play some piano for us,
Yeah, unfortunately not. That wasn't something I was ever any good at.
So I brought in Joe so we could preview the semi and the minor division over there in the West Coast, and he knows a little bit more about that than I do. I mean, I can pull up the graphics here, and we can kind of go through what it looks like. But Joe is an expert in all things Rocky Mountain, so I figure it's no better person to bring in to talk about this than Joe.
Yeah, that's a big task, being the expert. But so. A couple of different things that I think that are really interesting for the Rocky Mountain division in particular. So one of them, there's really one in particular, and that's the return of the Leaf Ray franchise. Leaf Ray has been out of the league for a couple of seasons, and now Blaine Barker and his guys have kind of come back, and they're bringing a semi-pro and a minor team into the division, and it's going to be really competitive. They're always a good team. Last couple of seasons when they were in the league, they were always towards the top, much to my team's chagrin, but that's the reality of it. We've built a good competition with them. Dare I say a healthy rivalry, because we had been, kind of in the mix for our first 2 years of our rebirth existence and then theirs. But they're going to headline the Rocky Mountain North Division, which will involve the Black Forest Thunder, the Littleton Fire, my Littleton Fire, and then the Blizzard last year, who that organization is just returning as semi-pro, but they have been really, really good to start the season. They were a first in the regular season in the conference, and even though they finished below the Fire at PIHA finals, they have been a team that's really come out of the gate. So I really expect this to be a tough division. I don't really see a team here that's going to be easy. Historically, I think the Thunder have been sort of the middle of the pack, but you play them at their place, they're always difficult. These teams are not easy. Well, we're not going to go to Des Moines, but the other teams are really good at home. And they are going to always be tough to beat.
And remember, Dave, that that out in the West Coast, these teams are still playing, kind of the legacy PIHA, where they're traveling to each other and playing 2-game sets. And the relative proximity that they have really kind of enables them to do that. Where here on the East Coast, you're talking about Rhode Island versus Pittsburgh sometimes, so it doesn't really allow for that.
Okay. So how does this work with the North and the South division? Do they ever play each other? Are they going to have playoffs against each other, or are they completely separate?
So they'll play each other during the regular season, but they'll split off at playoffs. So the idea being is that we're going to have a representative from each of the divisions to be at finals. So it's not going to be like the traditional either what's happened in years past where you've had like the regular season winner go and then there's a playoff to determine the second one, or there's a playoff. Last season we had just two teams rather who came out of a playoff. They didn't play a conference final, so it was just those top two teams that made it. So really what I like about this is it allows us to play a playoff against each other, and also to play, I mean, it's not a conference final per se, but it's a division final. And
and the same thing happens out here. Yeah, the same thing happens out here. And to Joe's point, we had 18 divisions out here in the semi-pro for the last couple of years, and there was never a division final. It was always just the top 2 teams went. So all of the division winners, and really the Southeast and the expansion in the lower divisions in the Rocky Mountain are really to thank for this, because now the numbers are a little bit more where we'll have 6 semi-pro and 6 minor teams all at the final, and each one of them will be representative of their division as the winner.
Oh, good. Okay. And now, when do you guys kick things off?
CJ's finalizing the schedule right now. When you play, as Flynn knows, obviously getting these rank times is quite difficult, but especially, when you're spreading the games out across so many weekends, there's a lot more moving parts. So I think the aim is that having something finalized by the weekend. But you never know with sometimes how finicky the ranks can be.
Okay. So we're hoping, maybe October, get some games starting in October, maybe.
12th, 13th, that weekend is the aim of October.
Well, and Dave, remember that since the finals are out there, they can be a couple weeks behind the 8 ball, because they, out here on the East Coast, we're worried about making sure there's a big window of time for the champions to book to get to Colorado. So they don't have to have 5 weeks out, like we try to do. So if they start a little later, they can end a little later, and have that ability to kind of. And like you said,
I know the guys are probably itching to play, though.
And they have more events than we do, because they're doing 2 at a time. Where we're putting big blocks of them together. So, but we can move in here now to the Rocky Mountain South Division. I believe North and South is what CJ called the semi-pro, and East and West is what he called the minor. Just for clarification there.
Yeah, so I think the first one to highlight, there's really 2 things we can highlight here. One of them is the return of the Arizona Coyotes to the division. They were here, I think the last time was in 2020, 2021, somewhere around there. I'm trying to remember the exact season, but they started off real hot. But the issue is that, and this is kind of the issue when Arizona and Des Moines come out, is that you have to play way more games in a weekend compared to the local teams. And so I think they ended up finishing much lower, I think, that they had wanted to. I think specifically because they were playing so many games in a weekend, and they just lost gas, frankly. But their talent is really good down there in Arizona. So I'm really looking forward to see what's happening. And then the Arvada Fire, who, full disclosure, one of the teams I own. So I was very happy to see them in finals last year. I think for them, they are, looking to come back to finals and looking to really make an impact against, those really good teams from the East. So, more of the same guys that you're used to seeing from that roster, with some kind of starting the season, going up and down between the pro and the semi-pro level. And then again, Thunder, always difficult to play at home. At their home rink, and then with
now, which Thunder team is this?
This is the Front Range Thunder. So CJ tends to, it's funny, it tends to be a little bit different every year. Traditionally, the Front Range team has always been better than the Black Forest team, but sometimes it just really depends. Sometimes he gets a good crop of 16, 17-year-olds on his Black Forest team that are just really good. So I always expect the Front Range team to be a little bit faster. So, that's kind of where I see that. But then the return, here's the thing with the Aurora Royals, is that they are a sneaky team. They are a good team. They always keep games close. They were really close to getting to finals last year. And they're always sort of in that mix. Okay. And so I won't count that team out by any means. I think they are not a team you want to see at any point during the year. And last year, throughout the regular season, they were splitting the 2-game series with everybody. It seemed like didn't matter how good you were, they were splitting with you. So I think that team, that division rather, is going to be quite competitive, and I'm interested to see kind of how Arizona really fits into the other 3 teams there.
So with the exception of Arizona and Des Moines, is everybody else in Colorado in those 2 divisions?
Yep.
Okay. And my question to that is, Does home rink advantage come into play when you're playing teams that are pretty close to each other versus teams that come in from far away? How does that home rink advantage work?
So if you ask the away teams, they'll say the home teams get all the calls. That's that it that's if you ask the away teams. I would, and I haven't been one that's been an exception to that. That has, I've complained, but hey, if the calls are against me, I'm always going to complain about it. That's just the way it is. That's the game. I think there is. And I think specifically because there are a couple of aspects. So the three rinks that we normally play at, the Parker Fieldhouse, the Xfinity Roller Sports Arena in Colorado Springs, and then also the Parker Fieldhouse and Foothills Fieldhouse. So that would be three. I think I counted one of them twice. Anyways, they have different dimensions. So Parker Fieldhouse is more of an NHL sheet, that size. Foothills is a bit thinner. Okay, so more of, I guess you could say, your traditional roller hockey dimensions. And then with Xfinity, I mean, just practicing there, that the atmosphere in that building, it's really tough. And so I think when you're looking at those three rinks, because the home teams are so used to practicing there, as we take a look at Xfinity and when they change from wood to the still mat floor, that they will use obviously for when the PIHA games are going on, and then for finals, you can just see, like, you see all the stadium seats there. Like, it's very easy in Colorado Springs to build up an atmosphere, especially for Thunder games. Like, they fill that building. And so there are, I think, very significant advantages when you play at home. And I find that the home teams, even when they're a little bit less skilled, can still make good competitive games out of it, for sure.
I'm sorry, Dave, when you come to Colorado this year, we'll get in the day after they do that. So,
I won't be able to watch that?
Well, no, you don't have to participate in laying the floor.
I would like to watch that because they work so fast. I keep hearing it takes a long time, but they did that in like 15 seconds.
That was I was going to say, that wasn't even on fast forward.
I need those guys to paint my house.
I know.
So, Joe, let's dive into the minor division
Yes.
a little bit. Talk about the minors, which really grew this year out there. I mean, 2 years ago, we had 3 teams in this minor division, Dave, and now it's definitely blown up.
Yeah, we got 9. And so, yeah, this is going to divide between East and West, as Flinner had mentioned earlier. And so, one of the things is that, Thunder, that organization, Thunder Vikings, had, I think one person had told me around like 80 skaters at their tryout.
Wow.
Which is incredible. I don't think I even would have said that was possible 5 years ago, but they did it, and so they're able to create all these minor teams as a result. So
and this is part of what CJ told us last week, Dave. That he's basically got 4 minor teams.
Yeah, and he wasn't kidding. So the return of the Stallions organization, which is mostly headed by people who work for Jeff Ingram. Over at the skate cities, we have a whole bunch of skate cities around, and they were able to get a minor team and then also a pro team that we'll talk about a little bit later. And then the return of Leaf Ray to the minor division. They've been playing in the I think you would say at MIHA. I always hear it like a bunch of different ways, but so they were been playing there and getting a lot of that tournament experience, kind of in that Division 4 kind of area. Now they're moving over here. And playing in the PIHA Rocky Mountain division. So I'll be interested to see how they kind of match up against our competition out here. I will say they will always be tough.
Yeah, and I don't want to say they. I walked into their locker room at Tours last summer, not this past summer, and I struck up a conversation with them. Let them know who I was, and I'm not trying to take credit, but sure enough, they said, "Oh yeah, we really got to get back into PIHA," and I was super glad to hear when Charlie and CJ said that they had contacted them and they're back in the division. So,
yeah, I'd mentioned, we've had a good friendly rivalry with them. We leave it on the court. We're friends off but they're always good games, when the Fire and Leaf Ray get together. And then in the West part of the minor division, so we have the Tugboats are back. The Tugboats were the division champion, hitting in last year into PIHA finals, and they are pretty much more or less reloaded with the same squad, maybe a couple changes from what I can tell on their roster, but they're still going to be really tough. Again, highlighting Thunder and Vikings there as that minor team, and then obviously my team, the Golden Fire, have we had a lot of guys come out to our tryout, and so I expect our team to be much better. And it's more depth. I think we lost out last year just because we were getting the team off the ground and didn't have depth. Now we got at least 10 good skaters that are going to be able to help. And then this Colorado Gringos team. So this comes from, and they actually had started playing in my Ironman tournaments up at Foothills. It's like Gringos Up in Smoke. And it's like this guy, I never remember his name, but I can just see his face. So they've decided to put in a minor team and really compete with us. So I'll be interested to see how they fold in. Usually a younger team that has a lot of skill, and so hopefully they can add the discipline with their skill this time around.
I gotta say, I'm looking at
Joshua Maine, I believe.
Yes, Josh Maine. Thank you.
I'm looking at the names here, Flynn. I'm really going to be following this, the minor division this year. I just love the names of these teams. They really are. They're unique names. They're fun names. I can't wait to see some of the jerseys. And
I can't wait to hear you say Joe's team name.
Joe's team's name. Which one's that now?
You want to let him know what you're
in the Fire, like in the minor division?
Oh, the Fire?
Yeah, the Fire.
I was goading you earlier to say that you did ice hockey games in Worcester.
And
yes.
What's that?
I love it. I think we did that on purpose. We wanted to make sure that everybody's regional accent comes out when they say our team name.
Right.
Yeah. I don't have an accent, but people say I do. So
the Fire. Right, Colorado, you don't have an accent.
Fire. Yeah, we need to go to the Fire. There we go.
Fire.
The Fire are on fire.
Yes.
Let's hope they have.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for jumping in. We have another segment to do in the C block, but certainly want to thank you for jumping in, and I'm sure we'll have you back on a number of times during the course of the season to update us on what's going on up there. And maybe you could get us some video out there. Maybe you could do some interviews. You could be our roaming reporter out there and get us some content for the show. Well,
I got to move around to lose some weight, so I'll work on that. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, and maybe a quick rendition of Chopsticks on that piano back there.
I'm thinking some Billy Joel, maybe.
Yeah, can I even technically? No, my hand disappears. I can't even pretend.
Well, thanks for taking the time out of your day, and we look forward to having you back on. And good luck to the Fire and all the rest of the guys out there.
All right, let's go Fire.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Joe Oria from the Fire organization, and like I said, he's the West Coast coordinator out there along with CJ. He's a great help to the league, so wanted to thank him for coming on. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't put my graphic in. Sorry about that, Dave.
That's all right. We're getting off the ground for a couple of shows. We got some snags to work out. I haven't got snacks either. You told me I was going to have snacks. I haven't had snacks either.
Well, I'm shocked you didn't ask Farinelli about the cheese fries at Big Boy Arena.
Yeah, well, I know we'll have him back on as the season goes on, so we'll make sure that he has cheese fries up there and in the whole bit.
All right. Well, proving that I work quicker than those guys laying that floor. We have our next segment, which isn't loading up too good on our screen here, but it is our Where Are They Now segment. And this is where we wanted to talk about some people who used to be in the league that aren't there anymore, but may have a great story to tell about what they're doing now. So without further ado, I wanted to bring in from the former Connecticut Blaze, a man, if you've been involved in the league a long time, doesn't need an introduction, but to all of our new people, his name's Bill DiNapoli. And Bill was the general manager of the Connecticut Blaze for a long time. So, Bill, let's bring you on in. Thanks for waiting so long in the green room back there.
Oh, that's okay, Flynn. Good to see you, man. How you guys doing? Hi, Dave.
What do you say? Good to talk to you again, Bill.
Good to be talked to. I'm just happy to see that PIHA is still going on, and I mean, when I got out of the league, I remember there was a league, the AIHL,
Mm-hmm.
and that was kind of a rival league, and they had a bunch of teams, and I was always a PIHA loyalist, and I kind of was always rooting for that league to survive.
Well,
And
back in 2015, 16 or 16, 17, the two leagues came back together. They merged, and everything kind of came back under one.
I know
So
I was glad to hear that because it was a little contentious, if I remember correctly, for a while.
yeah, but this is a happy show, so we don't talk about those things.
Oh, okay.
And maybe one
Okay.
day we do talk about that. Maybe one day we dive into it, Dave, on an off week or
Maybe.
something. But it all worked out. Things are going really good, and we're
I'm glad. I'm glad that that's still going on because I always loved roller hockey, and there's not in Connecticut. There's not a lot of it anymore. Most of the arenas that were used as facilities, they don't even exist anymore. And if they do, they don't have roller hockey like Plainville and Glastonbury, where the Blaze and the Fire Ants used to hold shop. They're gone, and there was a ice rink in Shelton that had both, but now it's just ice, and it's unfortunate because the 4-on-4 roller hockey game to me was always so exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had some good times at that Z rink up there. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, that was a great place. I mean, they had great house league stuff too, and it was good. And that's
did we just lose him?
somebody's always got a call for when you're in the middle of when you're on a podcast. But so I was thinking to myself how great it would be if there was still some roller hockey around the area, and I do hear from the guys every now and then. And hey, coach, how you doing? You ever think of I hear from Johnny Panero. We're doing a Rhode Island thing, or Steve Brandeis and the New York team. Hey, coach, and honestly, if I had a little more time in my schedule, I'd probably entertain the idea. I liked, like, back in the day, even when I wasn't coaching or running the Blaze team, I was always involved in like Tim McManus's State Wars stuff, and I used to always take the Connecticut teams to the tours or Narch or State Wars events, and I was always proud of the fact that we always made a good account of ourselves, good players and good results, and you know what? I still have a lot of those relationships, and I'm not going to lie. When I reconnected with you, Anthony, on Facebook, and then I actually looked up the league again, which I had not in quite some time. I was happy to see that you guys still had it going, and all the teams and how much you really are doing. I was happy that that was the way it is.
Yeah, I know, Bill. You bring up wanting to get back involved, and this is something that it was. And I'm going to be forthcoming with everybody. There was some contentious feelings with a couple of programs, one or two that didn't come back this season about the location of the finals this year. We've been in Colorado a couple of years in a row, and we're going there again this year. And some of the East Coast teams weren't big on that, and they really kind of were trying to light a fire under me to fight for an East Coast final this year. But what ultimately decided to be out West this year was that the league had said, hey, we're coming up on the 25th anniversary of the league, which will be next season. So next season, we're looking to have the finals out here on the East Coast. And one of the ideas that we've been tossing around is doing like the weekend of the finals, because if we have it here at Marple, I have two rinks, and normally at the finals we only have one rink. The idea of maybe doing a like an alumni tournament, something small, but to try to get some of the old guys back in the building for the 25th anniversary, to kind of have a bigger event, maybe like like a nice big party at the end of the night, and get a lot of the old guys, the Brian Yinglings and these types of people back into the league, at least for a weekend. So Bill, we got you right on air. We're looking for a commitment. I think maybe we can get a CT Blaze that weekend.
You know what? I think that could be arranged. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. I'm still in touch with the guys. Heck, I still have all the uniforms in my basement.
Nice.
I still have all the jerseys tucked away in the basement, packed away. I mean, I'm sure a lot of the guys have their own, but I had from the minor league teams. I had so many extra stuff, and I definitely saved it all.
Yeah, and I hear you, Bill. I have a 2 totes worth up in my attic that I carry around every time I move. With growl and scrapper and all kinds of stuff. I mean, even though I gave as many of them out as I can, I still have at least 2 Tupperware boxes of them.
So you're still residing in Pennsylvania, Anthony?
I am. Yeah. I'm right now. I'm in Marple Sports Arena. I've owned the place for almost 6 years now. So,
great.
But yeah, I think next year, that would be great. We have a small tournament. Some of the older teams come back. Some real small. I know. A lot of guys are pushing 50 now who probably played in the early days of the league. So we don't want something major. With a major commitment physically, but it would be great to have everyone back in the building and have like a big 25th anniversary party at the end, and maybe Bill DiNapoli could headline it. Headline the party. So that brings me into what are you doing now? I see that Van Halen thing behind you. Tell everyone a little bit about what you got going on here.
Well, I mean, look, I obviously I travel a lot playing music, but my main business is my fiance and I have we run a company that places like digital jukeboxes and ATM machines and billiards in bars and restaurants in the Massachusetts, Westchester. Actually, we go from probably Manhattan all the way to the Massachusetts line through Connecticut, and we put like digital music, those touch tunes jukeboxes you see on the wall, and we do ATMs. And now, because of the changing world, where the world's going cashless, for Christ's sake, we're pivoting to credit card processing and POS systems because all restaurants do that. I mean, I have a bunch of business interests, but yes, I am a traveling musician, but that's only when I guess I do a lot of that, but my business comes first. I'm fortunate to still be able to do this because I've had some opportunities, and I have a strong woman that could run the ship and watch the crew while I'm away. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be traveling to Los Angeles to play the Whiskey a Go Go, or I wouldn't be doing the stuff that I've had the opportunity to do. So she gets a lot of the credit for it. But
we all have a good woman behind it. Well, most of us have a good woman behind it. So,
and they're usually right off camera looking at us, making sure we say the right thing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'll be honest with you. I don't have the same woman I had back in the day. I was married, I got divorced, and then I met Tammy about 10 and a half years ago, and she started working for me about 6 months to a year after that. And I mean, she could sell ice to an Eskimo. She's excellent at everything she does, and she's even assisted me in the music business as far as when the band travels. She does all the bookings. She's dealt with the record company. She's like our agent. She's like our manager. She's like, and then when I'm away, and then she's got to run our crew and run the vending business, which is a tough business. It's a tough business to be involved in. And one of the reasons why I got away from the hockey is at some point I had to make a choice. You can't do everything.
Right.
And when I was coaching, and it wasn't just the PIHA when I had, the PIHA when I had all the youth teams and all the other programs going on, I really wasn't playing. I had 2 children I was raising, and there wasn't a lot of time to be, sports is always my number one love. It's always my number one love to this day. Like when I have to play a show somewhere and I have to travel, if I'm missing like a Miami Hurricanes college football game, or I'm missing my NFL Sunday, I'm always moaning and groaning. And Tammy goes to me, because we still are in touch with a lot of the guys. She goes, "Oh my God, I would have loved to have been around when you were coaching hockey." She goes, "I think that's so cool." She goes, "I wish you'd get back into it again. I want to see it." And I'm like, "Well, babe, if I do that, something's got to give. I can't be touring the nation with a guitar and then worrying about doing hockey practice. I mean, can't do it all."
Tell us a brief couple of seconds here, because we don't have a ton of time, but give us a little bit about the band. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Well, I'm in a band called Wild America. That's the quickest way I could describe it. It's on a label in Massachusetts called Kivel Records. And we travel around. We've toured with bands you grew up listening to, like Night Ranger and Extreme and Quiet Riot. And I mean, I can go on and on and on. And then I'm in a couple of tribute bands because honestly, that's where the best money is. I play in a band called Stairway to Halen, where we cover Led Zeppelin and Van Halen, and I also play in a band called Sweet Emotion, where we cover Aerosmith. And the Sweet Emotion band, I wear the getup and the wig, and I have actually in the last year I lost about 90 pounds, and that's what it took to get in a getup like that. And the Stairway band don't have to really do that because when you're covering two bands, you don't really got to look like one specific one. But all my guys are a little younger. They all got the long hair still. But I've played around the nation a lot since because after I got out of hockey in 2012, I went right back into music. And I exchanged one love for going back to another. And that's the long story short.
Well, Dave, we'll have to decide next year at the party if we're going to have Aerosmith or Stairway to Helen.
Right. We'll have to figure it out.
I'll tell you what, it's a pro experience for sure. My guys are all seasoned pros that have played with some big artists throughout their careers, and they're all. We play a gig, we go somewhere, and the guys all just fly in and bang, away we go.
Right.
And
awesome.
It's fun. It's fun.
I'm thinking if we have this get together, we're talking about, if you guys have an old timers game, I might throw on the referee shirt and referee for old time's sake. I refereed down there at the Z Rink with the Connecticut Blaze a couple of times.
You know what? I remember that, Dave. I remember that. And you know what? I think it would be great to see all the guys. I would definitely try to, I would assist in putting something like that together. I would love to see everybody.
Or maybe something's growing here, and I could certainly take it back to the league. But maybe instead of trying to ever get everyone to get a tournament together, maybe we just genuinely have an old timers game.
Just a skate.
Yeah, an old timers game, and we invite some prominent names, and everyone bring their old jerseys, and I think that might be an even better idea, honestly, than trying to schedule an entire tournament.
You know what? I know that my fiance would love it. My son, who used to be involved in our junior leagues when he was younger, who is now a 30-year-old electrician who just had his first child, and now I'm a grandfather, and with his fiance. So my son would love it. My family would love it, just to be around it because it's a part of my history. And my son remembers growing up being a part of the hockey. And yeah, I would definitely be on board with something like that. You keep me posted.
Sounds great. We'll do that. So, Bill, thank you so much. I know you were in the green room for a while there, so thank you so much for jumping in and leading off our Where Are They Now PIHA Rewind segment. So thank you so much. It was great catching back up. And hopefully we a lot of what we talked about can come to fruition in the next couple of months and years.
Well, you keep me posted. It was great talking with you guys. And Flynn, I'm glad we reconnected too. So you look like you had a great time there on your Florida trips. We go down a lot, and we love the Panther games. And, of course, we're big Miami Hurricane fans, so we're getting ready to go back next week. So
I almost wore my Panther shirt today too. Might have to do that next week now.
I got the banner up here somewhere.
I got my Cub hat on, and it was actually sent to me we played a bunch of shows in Florida, and one of the fans sent me a whole bunch of Panther championship hats and shirts and stuff. So I ended up getting a bunch of swag. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah,
but it was great to see you guys, and keep me posted.
Will do. Bill DiNapoli from the Connecticut Blaze. Thank you so much for jumping in and checking in.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
All right, that Bill DiNapoli is an old face, Dave.
I think this is going to be a fun segment, this rewind segment here, getting some old faces on, maybe get them involved somehow again, whether it's an old timer skate or whatever. I mean, you never know. Like people myself, been out of it for a little while, coming back in, enjoying it and seeing the new group of players. So I think the rewind segment might be kind of fun.
Yeah, well, every couple of weeks we'll have to definitely throw that in. I know we're talking about doing some social media segments and stuff, and for sure, anybody wants to get in touch with the Ratcast. For now, we put up a form on the Ratcast page on the PIHA website. So if you're looking to throw us an idea, or you want to be on the show, or you have some content, contact us through there. Like I said, it's right on the PIHA website. You can find the Ratcast in the media section, and right on the side, we have a little form that you can contact us. We're talking about other ways for you to get in touch with us, and we'll, as we come up with ideas, we'll certainly throw them out there on the show. And this is kind of a living, breathing thing that we've redeveloped here. We're only 2 shows in, but it's going pretty good. So got a lot of great feedback last week. But I think that's the more interaction we can get, the better, right, Dave?
I like that idea for the segment. That's a good idea. Should we talk about the trade?
No, actually, before we do, I wanted to jump in real quick. And right now, what's going on over in Italy is Team USA, and Team USA is loaded with guys who are playing PIHA. One of which Mike Farinelli brought up earlier, but they're playing right now in Italy. So Team USA, as of right now, little inside baseball for everybody. The show isn't live this week. We're actually taping this on Tuesday. So I can't give you, this is the result from yesterday, which was Monday. When you see this show tomorrow, they would have played Tuesday, which is in about a half hour from now, 1:30 Eastern time. They play 7:30, I think, at night over there in Italy. So they're gearing up for their second matchup now against Chinese Taipei. And then tomorrow, which is today if you're watching, around 1:30 p.m., shortly after the show ends, you can watch them play France. A couple names on that roster, that are PIHA players, Garrett Ross, who Mike Farinelli brought up, Billy Pascali, Tyler Kraft. I bring his name up because I believe he will be a Chaos member this year. PJ DiMartino, Joey DiMartino, Corey Hodge, Max Halverson, Mike Machinsky. Those PIHA players who are all on Team USA this year.
We should probably make a note to try to get one of those guys here on the show to talk about their experience.
Yeah, and if you want more information on that particular team, you can go here to usainlinehockey.org. That is where you'll get all the information. You can see rosters, coaches, stuff like that, information. They also have an Instagram, which is USARS Inline Hockey. And right there, that if you go on their Instagram, you're getting constant updates. And last but not least, if you're looking to watch those games, you can go to worldskate.tv. I do think you have to sign up to be a member to watch those games, but you can go there. And as of tomorrow, when this episode airs, it'll only be a couple minutes away. I believe that'll be 1:30 Eastern. They play France later on that day. So that is what's going on there with Team USA. But yeah, you brought it up, Dave. We have a trade. You believe this?
News.
This just came across this morning, and I can't tell you the last time I saw a trade in PIHA. So players don't have contracts per se, but there was an agreed upon trade, and there's 2 goaltenders going back and forth. So Matt Levy headed from the Legends over to the Jokers. This is minor league stuff here, Dave. And Sarah Riberich is headed back the other way and will become a Legend. So that just came across our desk earlier today. So we thought that was exciting. We've got a trade.
You might have to put in a trade deadline in this league now, right? If you don't have one.
Well, technically there is one because the roster addition move. Well, actually, no, you might be right because a player, and this is obviously if we're talking about trades, if a player is on one team, they have to play 10 games to be eligible. But if they played 6 on one team and then 4 on another, you're bringing up a good point.
And a guy like Bill DiNapoli would really exploit that rule. So you're going to have to really write that down with fine print and examples.
He's not even here to defend himself. No love in an elevator for you, Dave.
Going down.
So last but not least, we got an exciting weekend coming up. We're kicking off the season this weekend, making the trip up to my old haunt there in Long Island, Skate Safe America, Old Bethpage, where we've got minor league action. All of the teams in the Metropolitan and Atlantic Division will be there. I've got them all listed here. A couple of Pandas teams and a trio of Legends teams. Our new teams, the Jagaloons, the Jokers, the Mustache will be there. Along with the Sting and Impact as well. So lots of action. I will try to get as much media as I can out of that event. See some old friends. A guy like Steve Sharkey will be in the building that day.
Nice. How about
So-
Milkbone and French Toast? They still work there?
No, they don't. I believe Milkbone is a New York City police officer, and French Toast is living in Raleigh. Maybe we get him to keep some games down there in Apex.
Nice.
So that's happening this weekend. Little look at what Skate Safe looks like. This is for people who have never been there before. This is a little look at what the place looks like. They got 2 rinks. They are long ways next to each other, so they kind of butt up end to end, net to net, net to net, long building. Yep. But it's been there quite some time, and there were some concerns about this place, in the last couple of months, but seems like they're doing well and going to stay there for some time. So obviously excited about that. So
let the games begin.
Yep. Games are just 4 days away. We got a little counter on the website. Those keep track, but we're starting 2:00 Eastern. We'll kick off another great season of PIHA hockey. And just, a lot of teams, I'm sure, are excited to finally get it underway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can't wait to start reporting on some games and get some results in here that we can talk about.
So, Dave, just a little promo for everybody. Remind everybody that our schedule is to go Wednesdays, 12:00 Eastern every week. You can find the show at the PIHA. There's a dash in there, at the PIHA on YouTube. We'll also be streaming to some social media platforms, but this will be the official home of where the show goes, at the PIHA. We'll try to, after the show's over, we'll get it up the PIHA website on our section of the PIHA, the Ratcast under the PIHA website, to archive those things. And again, if you want to get in touch with us, right on that page, submit the form. We're excited to get people involved. And that's our show for the week. Episode 2 in the books, Dave.
Episode 2. Now, this was recorded, but a lot of times we will be live. So you can watch us live. You can come into the chat room, ask questions, and the whole bit. So it's going to be a mix of recording and live. So,
yeah, that's great. So that's the show for the week. And the following week, we don't have any games because of Nashville Cup going on down in Nashville. But I think we'll spend some time next week talking to some of the new teams. Talk to some of the teams that participated during the first event, and we go from there.
That sounds good to me. All righty.
Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
We'll take that advice, Dave. Thanks so much, everyone who watched, and we'll see you again next week.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Until next time. Bye-bye.